Before starting this lesson, you are strongly advised to ensure that you have learned and understood the previous lesson on chart legends. It is important that you have studied page 57 of the Jeppesen manual and have put the symbols into context. If you are satisfied that you are ready to start, turn to page 58. It is normal practice to have a reporting point or navaid at the intersection of two or more airways. The reporting point may not apply to all the routes, in which case a symbol denoting that the airway bypasses the reporting point is as shown on the screen. Under the title Boundaries on page 58, make sure that you can recognize the symbol for FIR/UIR boundary, the international boundary, and the time zone boundary. The upper and lower limits of control zones and areas are shown on the charts. You must, therefore, be able to recognize the abbreviations at the bottom of the left-hand column for the upper limit for a control zone, aerodrome traffic zone, and a traffic information zone. Also note the abbreviation for the upper limit of an upper control area and the upper and lower limits of a terminal control area. Now turn to page 59. The information on many charts is highly congested, making it impossible to add explanatory notes in a particular area. In this instance, a system of ball flags is used. The ball flag is either numbered or lettered and is placed at the point of applicability. The number or letter can then be found somewhere in the same fold with an explanatory note. The chart legend we have looked at so far may be found on any of the en route charts. However, there are some which apply to the high altitude charts only. These are to be found on page 71, and again we will only discuss the most important ones. We have already seen that VOR and VORTAC beacons are depicted with an arrow orientated to magnetic north. On high-level charts, this system is also used for VHF and LMF off-route facilities. The geographical coordinates of navigation facilities are shown across the bottom of the shadow box, as we have seen previously. In the right-hand column are the symbols for upper airways. The centre line is defined by a solid blue line, and the identification of European upper routes is prefixed by the letter uniform. In the example shown on the screen, this airway would be identified by voice communication as upper Alpha 6, and this one-way route as upper Golf 4. European routes are always identified using the phonetic alphabet. In some countries, however, these routes would be referred to as upper Amber 6 and upper Green 4. Once you are satisfied that you can recognize and memorize these symbols and those from the previous lesson, take out chart E-High 4 from the manual. Be careful, there are two of these charts. We are interested in the one with "not to be used for navigational purposes" splashed over the front, as this is the one to be used for the CPL and ATPL examinations. Open the chart to panels 3 and 4. The panel numbers are shown on the bottom of the chart. We will now work through a small route so that you will see the kinds of symbols you must be familiar with. In our example flight, we will travel from Land's End to Dinard. Identify Land's End at 50 degrees 08 minutes north and 5 degrees 38 minutes west. As this is a high-level chart, the shadow box for Land's End has the exact geographical coordinates of the VOR printed beneath it. The open triangle shows that this is a non-compulsory reporting point as well as a VOR, and the arrow defines magnetic north. Around the triangle are figures in degrees, indicating radials from the facility. We shall follow the radial 130 along the airway indicated by a solid blue line. The designation of this airway is Upper Gulf 4, shown in the rectangle. Just south of the coastline, the airway crosses a time zone boundary. This defines the boundary between UTC and UTC+1. To the north of the track is some restricted airspace. The most southwesterly one is annotated EGD 008. This stands for United Kingdom Danger Area 008. Its upper limit is 55,000 feet. Its lower limit is mean sea level. And its times of operation are given by NOTAM. Next on our route is the FIR boundary between London and France. There is a compulsory reporting point on the boundary named Lizard at the geographical position shown. Lizard can also be identified by the intersection of the 130 radial from Land's End and the 221 radial from Berry Head, as indicated by the arrow from Berry Head. The distance from Land's End to Lizard is 60 nautical miles, as shown. After a further 37 nautical miles, we come to non-compulsory reporting point Ballot, where the airway changes to Upper Romeo 40. Notice the airway that crosses our route at Ballot. It uses even flight levels in the direction shown, and by implication, it uses odd flight levels in the opposite direction. This is different from the normal semicircular rules, but quite common practice. To the south of our route is a box outlined by telephone symbols. These show the control frequencies for this area. Between flight levels 195 and 340, use frequency 133.47 as indicated by the note 1 under the box. And above flight level 340, use frequency 133.0. The boundary of this sector is marked by the faint telephone symbols, and the FIR boundary, the figure 167 contained within the hexagonal box, shows the total distance between the VORs at Land's End and Dinard. This can be confirmed by adding the sector distances along the route of 60, 37, 23 and 47. At the intersection with the next airway, Upper Romeo 1, is a left-hand racetrack hold. The X marks the start and end of the pattern. The figures within the racetrack show that the hold starts at a DME distance of 47 miles from Dinard, and the first left-hand turn starts at 34 miles from Dinard. You should now be aware of the necessity of memorizing all the parts of the chart legend covered in these last two lessons. Furthermore, it is essential that the whole route and the area around it is studied before any detailed planning can take place. This will be dealt with in the next lesson.